Hi, everybody. It's Brittany here from the Winfield Creative. I am so excited to be collaborating with the Mad River Valley Chamber of Commerce and the Marketing Task Force in order to bring you this special workshop as a part two to our marketing series. So, special thanks goes to Eric and the Marketing Task Force team, which you can learn more about on the Mad River Valley's blog in order to have a better understanding as to the reasonings why we are bringing you these workshops. If you have not checked out the part one of this series, I do recommend pausing this video and going back and engaging in both the webinar and the workbook that we talked about in lesson one. If you did watch that lesson, we will be recapping part of that, but it is imperative to understand who we are talking to, which is your target audience, in order to learn how to talk to them, which we'll be talking about in this training. So, again, if you have not watched the Marketing 101 lesson, make sure to pause this video and check that one out. First, it is on the Mad River Valley Chamber of Commerce's YouTube channel, and you can find all of these trainings there. And let's dive into speaking their language, a guide to marketing, messaging, and content. Again, I'm Brittany Winfield with Winfield Creative, and that's what I do for a living. I teach business owners how to leverage social media strategies so that way they can boost their business's visibility and spend time away from social media. Because once you have the processes and the strategies nailed down, it really makes it easier on you and reduces overwhelm overall. So that's what I do. I always like to point out also that I have a few free resources just in case you are in need of some social media strategy for a more affordable cost. So I do have my podcast, the Marketing Mixtape Podcast, the Social Spark blog, which comes out with new blog posts every single Monday, and also Viral Vibes, which is my weekly newsletter in which I send different social media strategy updates related to the different platforms that are out there, and also trending audios that you can use in order to gain more views and more reach for your content. But enough about me. Let's get into the bulk of this presentation today. In the next 60 minutes, around 60 minutes, we're going to be recapping the Marketing 101 lesson that really highlights the most imperative pieces and use those fundamentals as a building block to this next lesson, in which we'll be talking about crafting effective messaging. We're going to be talking about the problem solution call to action framework, the caption framework. We're going to be talking about best practices for messaging along with real examples from the Mad River Valley Chamber of Commerce's social media page. And also, we're going to have opportunity for a wrap up. And if you have any questions, you're probably watching this recording. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment below on this video or reach out to me at hello@thewinfieldcreative.com. So let's recap. In lesson one, we really talked about what the bridge is between your business goals and your marketing efforts. And it's really important to understand what your business goals are so that way you are able to make a marketing plan. Like that is your roadmap to creating a marketing plan and your marketing efforts. So that way there is alignment with the two of them. Often we are so involved with what we're doing for our business that we don't have time to work on our business. But the reality is, we can't really reach our business goals, our revenue goals, our sales goals, if the marketing efforts are not overlapping. And there's an entity that we're going to be talking about, and we have been talking about in the last two lessons. And this bridge between the two of them are your target audiences, the people that are buying your products, buying your services, and engaging with your business. So, again, if you have not watched lesson one, go back and watch it and work on the workbook because we need to know who our target audience persona is that we are trying to reach in order to craft the messaging in order to catch their attention. And if you remember, we worked on this exercise, and this paragraph is essentially a template for you to be able to talk about your ideal customer, your target audience, your audience persona. So it's a little bit easier for you to envision this person sitting down, scrolling on Instagram or scrolling on their favorite social media app. If we are able to envision this 3D model of this customer. And so this exercise really helps you work through who is the type of person that you are trying to reach. So that way, we now know who we're talking to, and now we're able to learn how to talk to them and speak their language. So, crafting effective messaging. How do we speak their language? Well, we do that by using words that your target persona would use. We meet them where they are at in their customer journey through the tone in which they want to be spoken to. And we also use phrases that are in their everyday language in order to relate to our target audience. So if we are, for example, speaking to owners of pets, maybe you run a pet food store, really getting into the mindset of why would somebody want to come to your store for their pet? How do they have a relationship with that animal, and what is some of the language that we are able to use in order to sell them on stopping by our store. So that's just a little bit of a example that I like to use based on a client of mine, but I really in this example wanted to take one of the Mad River Valley's real members and really think about who is their audience and really scaling it to one specific audience member. And we're going to talk about what happens when you have different types of audiences. So you might be talking to different businesses in order to create different collaborations. You might be talking to different individuals because your marketing plan, you're trying to reach a multitude of goals. But for these purposes, let's just focus on one of your audience personas and really dig deep in order to form a relationship with that audience member and really get into the mindset of how do they perceive our business. So for this example, I chose to pick on a little bit drip culture, so drip culture sauna. And what really stood out to me about this business model is they serve a multitude of different audiences. And because looking at the website, it does mention some like health benefits of going to a sauna. I wanted to bring attention to what happens if we're talking to somebody that isn't from that world, that may not be coming to a sauna for health reasons. So for this example, drip culture sauna, your target that we're going to be working on in this exercise is a busy mom of three who has no time for self care and always puts herself last. So, really, when you are trying to reach somebody who has no time, very busy, always is on go, 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 how to convince them that it is worth the time, the money, the effort to take a part of their day and focus on themselves, which for a busy mom of three is really, really hard to do in her mind. So how do we use different words to resonate? How do we use different tones in order to meet her where she's at? And how do we use different phrasing that would stop her in her scrolling of social media in order to say, you know what, like it's time to put myself first. So let's look at some different phrases. Words that really resonate with somebody like this. And again, you can switch out different types of words depending on what campaigns. You might also have to test and tweak a little bit to see really what type of wording resonates with that person. It may not be you're gonna hit it on the first go around of this, but that is okay. It's also okay to call in a few focus group members and ask them which one really resonates with you if they do land in this target audience. But different words that might resonate with a busy mom of three who puts herself last is you can't pour from an empty cup, but you can sweat out the stress. The reason why I chose this word as an example, this wording is a busy mom of three who puts herself last. What is she going to prioritize? She's not going to prioritize self-care. She will really take on this caregiving persona as a busy mom, and everything about what she does in her daily activities revolves around the children. So we have to put the children at the forefront of the messaging. So if the words are, you cannot pour from an empty cup, this is really meeting her where she is at, where it's like, okay, if I do take the time, the 30 minutes, not only will I be able to have self-care, yes, but bigger picture is I will be able to be a um a relaxed caregiver for the family. And also talking about, not only that, which is priority number one, is how can I continue to be that mom of three. Then we second priority is that self-care, and third priority might be that, okay, there are also health benefits that are tied into taking 30 minutes, taking 60 minutes, and going to the sauna. So, using tones very carefully when it comes to having an emotional understanding of your audience. This is where we will need to pull in a little bit of our, EQ skills. And especially for this audience member, reassurance that the world will still go on even if you take an hour of self-care for yourself, meeting her with empathy, because it is very stressful in the situation she is coming from. Encouraging language might be the way to go. And also guilt free, because there is a lot of guilt and shame that's related to the topic of self care. And phrases might be step into the heat, step out refreshed. This is really like smaller taglines that you can use that is related to your business and your product and your services. So, step into the heat really relates to the fact that it's a sauna, but step out refreshed is that benefit that they will be receiving when they do enroll in the service. So stepping into the heat really is, again, the talking about the sauna. So that's more of like a feature that you get, that when you book an appointment, you're stepping into, like, you have 60 minutes in a sauna by yourself. Stepping out refreshed is the benefit that that individual will receive if they take it upon themselves to book the service. So, really, the words, the tones, and the phrases, it's important to be able to relate to our audience and really meet them where they're at in their journey. Which is why we, going back to the slide that, let's go back to it. So, this right here, if Drip Culture's business goal is to sell more of a certain service, especially, and it's a certain service that would benefit a busy mom of three, that is why we need to understand our target audience in the middle here in order for our marketing efforts to really make an impact, in order to make more revenue and hit those booking numbers for that specific service. So everything ties back, and simply ties back to, we need to know our business goals and how much of money we want to make, how much of each discovery call we want to make, like really setting numerical SMART goals. So timely, specific, measurable, relevant, achievable. I got those backwards, and timely goals. In identifying those goals, so that way we can then identify our target audience and who would be best to reach those goals. And then our marketing efforts is the next thing that comes. So it's really a step by step formula in order to all tie back into what you want to accomplish for your business. So let's go back to here. And again, we are focusing on the benefits that that individual will receive if do invest in your service, your products that you are offering. And it might not even be going right to making the sale, also, it might be just foraging that next step in your relationship with the audience. So it might not be book this discovery call. It might just be subscribe to my email list because you will receive tangible tips on whatever industry you're coming from. It might be you get a discount of some sort. It might not be going from A to Z. It might just be going from step A to B. So that way you can really deepen your relationship with them and bring them closer into your circle, and also move them off of that follower list if you are using social media as your platform, and bring them into like your closer, more controlled marketing environment, because especially with social media being a little tumultuous for your business, it really should be at the top of your funnel. So when we're looking at our sales funnel, social media really sits at the top where awareness comes into play. But we want to bring people deeper into our sales funnel, further into that pipeline, so that way we can pull them into this discovery, this interest, this qualification step. So when we're crafting effective messaging, we want to focus on the benefits of what action we are trying to have them make, and not the features, aka why should they take that action, rather than what do they get if they book a call, or what do they get if they book a sauna session. What are the benefits and why should they book that sauna session, rather than you get this, you get that. Yes, what do they get, but in relation to the emotional customer journey that they're on, why should they pay attention, why do they relate to you? That is all part in blending relationship marketing and social media marketing. So let's talk about the caption framework, because people often know how they feel, but they don't always know what they need in order to feel relief. So, when I say problem, this also might be a challenge that they're going through. This might be just a place where they're at in their life. Really meeting them where they are at and addressing it. So, are you a busy mom of three who is finding it hard to be a caregiver, or maybe not in that sense of the word, but are you a being very specific, and it's okay to like call out your target audience in this messaging too. For myself as the example, are you a small business owner who does really well posting one week, but then drops off and abandons their followers the next week? Like, that is a common challenge that my clients go through. So, again, getting to know your audience and what are some of these challenges that they experience, and then addressing the solution. So, not from a honor pedestal type of point of view, but being more of a guide of, did you know that there is a way to feel this sense of relief? Did you know that there is essentially like there's light out there if we do engage with the business. So a problem to a solution, and then a call to action. So people don't always know where to go next, and they need a little bit of guidance as to, what do you want them to do? What is the action that you want them to take? Do you want them to subscribe to your email list? Do you want them to visit your retail store? Maybe you're promoting an event. Do you want them to just go ahead and book the service, or buy the shirt on your Instagram shop? That is where we need to get very clear as to what do we want them to do with the information. That the problem to solution is, okay, I know I have this going on. I know that there is like this person has reassured me enough in order to provide that help to me. Okay, now I feel the sense of relief. We need to bridge that gap and be like, okay, if you resonated with the message that I sent to you, here's how you can keep this relief going. And so the reason why we use this caption framework is in order to relate to them. So the problem might not even be a problem, but it's a way to relate to them, and then we're being their guide in order to um say, yeah, we experienced that too. Like you point out where they're at in this emotional journey, and then by being their guide, you're like, you know what, we're seeing things from the same angle, and you know what, I have something that I can offer to you in order to help you out in the way that I was able to help out others too. And then we bring them down the sales funnel with our calls to action. So, this is a really simple way in order to structure our captions. So that way there's consistency and specificity, and we really are able to relate to our audience and be very direct with them. Yeah. And then, moving forward that like you have a template to work off of also. So you can almost work backwards if you wanted to in order to write your messaging. And I also want to say, like, you can use this type of framework not just on captions. We're just talking about captions in relation to social media in this specific workshop, but this is also applicable for different print marketing, for radio ads, and I challenge you to listen to some of the commercials out there and pay attention to some of the media that you uh, consume, and see if they follow this framework as well, in a way that maybe not be as blunt as, are you going through this, here's this, and then do this. Sometimes it's a little bit more involving some storytelling, which is always recommended, but for the most part it's a framework where usually there's like, we even see this in TV commercials too, where like something's going on and then it's like, oh, sweet relief if you do this, so call your doctor and do all this. Like, I'm just thinking of like a pharmaceutical commercial, but that's essentially the framework that marketing messaging follows and abides by. So, I wanted to use the Mad River Valley Chamber of Commerce's social media posts as an example and just look at some ways that we might be able to enhance them moving forward, and also some good things about it. So, this first one, as you can see, it is very, very direct with that first line. So, exciting news, ski lovers. And this is even using positive emotion, which is also great. I know we talked a lot about like problem to solution, but it's also applicable for, that positive messaging also, which is always a great approach to marketing messaging. So, exciting news, ski lovers. It's very specific, where I don't ski, so this might not appease to me, but but those who come to the Mad River Valley for skiing, absolutely. And because Eric started this caption with exciting news, who wouldn't want to, keep on reading? Like, it sparks curiosity as like, what's this exciting news that's about to be announced? So this was a photo, or reel, I should say, of on top of the mountain. So it calls out people where they're at. So definitely shook the snow globe. So it's really, we got a lot of snow. And then it is also hyping people up and also using collaborative messaging by tagging the Mad River Glen. So it's making an announcement that Mad River Glen, the ski it if you can mountain, is opening up today, which is amazing to be able to tag other collaborators, especially since you're all working together for the greater good of the Mad River Valley. Yes, we're working on our marketing efforts for our individual businesses, but by including the community in the messaging as well, this really shows a form of camaraderie with your fellow business owners. So somebody who is like a Vermonter wanting to try a different mountain, even skiers in the Mad River Valley who may not have explored the businesses yet that they live right next to. Of course, tourists coming in from all over New England and elsewhere. Really, like, if you are, if the ultimate goal of the Mad River Valley is to get people to see that the Mad River Valley is a go to destination, then they want the whole package. They don't want to just go for skiing. Especially, like, I think of different units that come for, like, family units. So you'll probably not gonna get all the 100% of the time, like, all the time, like, an entire 100% family of skiers. There might be somebody like me who prefers to, snuggle up with a book by the fireplace with a cup of cocoa. So that's why it's important to directly talk to our target audiences. But by collaborating with other community members, it really paints that message of the communities working together in order to make a great customer service experience for that person. So it's very encouraging. Get ready to carve the fresh tracks, grab your gear, rally your friends, and kick off the season in style. And then the specific call to action is don't forget to share your opening weekend adventures with us using that hashtag. So ski MRV. So this call to action is very specific that the Mad River Valley, the Mad River Glen, they are looking for photos of skiing adventures from these skiers that are coming for this opening weekend and telling them to specifically tag or use the hashtag ski MRV. And so that way, the Mad River Valley, Mad River Glen, those social media managers are able to go to this specific hashtag and look at the content that has been tagged with that hashtag and incorporate user generated content, so consumer generated content, the skiers, and be able to form a community picture on their social media where it's like not just them pushing out the media, but people, it ups the credibility because that means people are going to the Mad River Valley and Mad River Glen to go skiing. And they enjoyed themselves so much that they want to take content of it and share it. So it's a really good idea in order to boost the visibility, yes, in order to use the different follower lists. And so let's say like a ski influencer comes to the Mad River Valley, they see this post, they've been going to the Mad River Valley's Instagram page to see if it's worth the trip. They see this, they're like, great, we're gonna go ski the Mad River Glen. That sounds awesome. I loved the photo. They go, they take the photos and post it using that hashtag. Now, the Mad River Valley is sharing it to their stories. Mad River Glen is sharing it to their Instagram stories. That ski influencer sees that there's this community building, even over a phone screen. They share their photos. So, not just the original photo, but any other commentary on theirs. And then, so if this ski influencer has like 10,000 followers, the Mad River Valley has 1,000 followers, this community with the 10,000 followers will start to follow that other profile because they want to keep in touch with what's going on in the valley in order to plan their trips. Because if their friend, who's the ski influencer, saw that, this person enjoyed their trip enough to post about it, like they're raving about the businesses that are in the Mad River Valley, I want to go too. And that's what makes the power of the community on social media so powerful. Because with just a caption that is as specific, we can not only get content for our business by people that are visiting our businesses, but also we can showcase that it is this tight knit little Vermont like community that especially in the tourism industry, people are craving that simplicity. In the world we're living in now, people are craving escapism from their daily life, the drama, all that stuff. And they want to just live that cute Vermont, like Gilmore Girls type style life, even for a weekend. And that's where, if we're going to play to what relates to them and what resonates to them, you're going to increase traffic in the Mad River Valley in tourism, and people are going to shop. And spend their money in the business, in your business. So yeah, that's just, I like to use this as the example for this one because I think Eric did a great job. Okay, next we have See the Holidays in Style. So this one was a little bit more seasonal, but I loved that the Mad River Valley is taking care of businesses and highlighting businesses that make up, like, the real people that make up the Mad River Valley. Because by showcasing people's faces, the people looking at these Instagram posts will get to know the real people that are in these businesses. So it's still using that collaborative posting type of mindset of tagging Mad River Eye Care. It also highlights um, uh, like the holiday sale that was happening. Um, my recommendation on how to enhance this, especially for, we're going to be talking about at the end of this presentation, you're actually going to be receiving a workbook, of PDF directional on how to create a collaborative post with the Mad River Valley, because the Mad River Valley wants to do better at highlighting the different businesses and the people of the Mad River Valley. But, it needs to be a little bit of a community effort. So, in order to make that goal happen, what I recommend to folks is not focusing on a sale at this point, like, just an introduction as to your why as a business, really inviting more storytelling. And this is not a dig at Eric at all, but this caption specifically does feel a little bit like AI generated. And what that giveaway is for me is the emojis that are used. It's kind of like, you know, base level caption writing where we could get a little bit deeper in learning more about what drives Mad River Eye Care to do what they do. Like, what is the why? What is the benefit of being able to help people in the Mad River Valley with their vision care? So that's really my recommendation, of instead of using this as, like, the body of this as the sales pitch, just focusing on the call to action being a sales pitch, like, not a sales pitch, that's not the right word for it, but having just the call to action, like a little, like, one sentence, be like, learn more about Mad River Eye Care at madrivereyecare.com or whatever their website is, or just tagging, go follow Mad River Eye Care, and having more of the body of the messaging being the story behind it. So, like, what drives Mad River Eye Care to be the best in customer service when it comes to vision care? Let's see the people behind the profile as well. So yeah, just getting a little bit more personal and incorporating some storytelling, and especially emotional storytelling behind it. Like, just speaking from more of an authentic place of what makes this business special. And that's part of developing what we call your USP, or your UVP, which is your unique selling proposition or your unique value proposition. And this, like to use more of like the UVP, the unique value proposition. What is the value that this business brings to the environment in which they are? Okay, we are in this one, it's discover the charm of the Bridge Street Marketplace. So I loved this one because it is easier to read with these bullet points down here. People have short attention spans nowadays. So, yes, we're trying to appease the algorithm with keywords, but we're also keeping in mind that humans are the ones that are reading these captions. So bullet points, especially ones that use emojis, in I mean, like, literally using an emoji as the bullet point, that draws attention and that draws the eyes. Like, you could see, like, my phone's on dark mode, which is why the background is black and the font is white. People that have it opposite, so the font is dark, the background is white, both of those settings, emojis are always going to be able to form some contrast. So from a design perspective, using a bulleted list, especially when listing out your value propositions, is a great tool. So I wanted to highlight that, and kudos to Eric for using that. And again, uh the call out to the target audience is pretty specific. So unique shopping experience. So this appeals to shoppers. Appeals to people that have disposable income in order to go shopping. My addition to this of what I would do is I would actually list out the different businesses, like tagging the different businesses that are on Bridge Street. Not just, it looks like from up above that they were tagged in the actual photo themselves, but I would actually list out the different businesses, and a little bit of something something about them. Instead of saying from local artisans to cozy cafes, per numbers, you're allowed to tag up to 20 accounts in your caption and also in your photo. So up to 20 businesses is quite a lot for one little section of Wastefield. So yeah, it really shows some community giving when we are including our people in our messaging. But this was a great job with, the different reasons why to visit. And then last but not least, I really liked this caption because it shows a lot of gratitude when it comes to highlighting the awesome things that the Mad River Valley is working on, and the businesses in the Mad River Valley specifically. And it was very specific when it says find it in locations both in and out of the valley. Excuse me, in and out of the valley. Yeah, it I really liked that it has like the thank you to Tom and the amazing team at Resort Guides. And it shows like this community gratitude for one another, like this community appreciation with messaging related to positivity. That is a natural way to involve emotion and also to get more engagement from your audience. So if your business has been posting on social media and maybe, you're getting 2 likes here and there, like really the needle has not really been moving with comments, I encourage you to add more messaging that's similar to this one. So, one that is thanking your clients, thanking your customers, thanking your employees, like making an announcement of some sort that is like, today we're celebrating because we did this. For business owners that I come across, that those types of posts are usually the hardest for them to put out into the world, and that is why, because it's sometimes hard to see a milestone as a big accomplishment when we are so in our business. But from an outside perspective, not only does this psychologically increase the value of what you are selling, it also shows people how much hard work goes into what you are doing. So, what you believe is a small milestone that shouldn't be celebrated, it should, because people that are not entrepreneurs will see this as a huge stepping stone for your business. And even more so, other entrepreneurs in the valley, they know how freaking hard it is to run a business. And so you being able to celebrate your accomplishments, even if you don't see it as an accomplishment, is it's opening up the conversation of how hard it is to run a business, especially one in Vermont during these times. Um so I loved that this is more of a celebratory type of caption. And so these four are great examples with areas for improvement, which, we're starting from where we're starting from. these are four great examples of ways to incorporate this framework, and really guiding people to take action in order to help businesses reach their business goals. So I encourage you to apply the framework. Refer to your audience persona, that little paragraph we were talking about before, and reread it out loud and write down a problem that your audience might be going through. Pull from that pain points list. Craft a solution, which we did, write down some solutions that, write down a problem in column A, and then in column B, write that solution that you provide, and really going deeper into like the why behind it. So not just the feature of what they get as the solution, but how does this help them long term? Like, what from a human to human level are you helping them with? And then adding a clear call to action. And that's how you're able to apply the framework moving forward in your marketing messaging. Okay, we're going to wrap this up by saying best practices for messaging. We have 5 of them here that you can incorporate moving forward in your marketing messaging plan. So, number 1 is staying consistent across platforms. This is so that you can cast your net wide. That gives you some information about where people are finding your information on different platforms, which messaging is landing with people on Facebook versus Instagram. This allows you to cast your net wide, but it's it allows for steadiness in your messaging in order to increase brand recognition. So, the reason why we are talking so much about benefits rather than features is the core benefits, like at the core of your services, the benefits don't change regardless of which platform that you are um, posting on. So, going back to drip culture, if the benefit of a busy mom of 3 is taking an hour to go to drip culture sauna, is being able to pour from her own cup in order to be a caregiver for the children of 3. If I'm a busy mom of 3 who's seeing this on social media, that messaging in itself, in the why behind the messaging, is powerful regardless if I'm seeing the message on Facebook versus Instagram. But where it's important to cast your net wide is in order to find your target audience. So this busy mom of 3, because she's so busy, she might be seeing this on Facebook one day and have not seen the message on Instagram. So this is where, if I do log into Instagram maybe a week later and that message or that same post pops up in my algorithm, I'm reminded of that messaging. It's creating an extra touch point where it's like, "Oh yeah, like that real I saw that a week ago, but I was doing so much stuff, like, it refreshed the algorithm, and I didn't get to book that appointment. But now that I'm seeing this again, like, it's really resonating with me." And also remembering that not 100% of your audience will see 100% of your posts. So it's okay to repeat the messaging a little bit, over and over and over again. You could do it in a different way based on what type of content that you're putting out. But this allows you to cast your net wide to find your audience and really get an understanding of, like, where are they spending their time online. But for the most part, your messaging should stay consistent in order to create frequency, like increased frequency of people seeing your messaging. And also, I want to point out that even if social media is not your thing, the Mad River Valley has the events calendar. So you can create this messaging and just very easily copy and paste it into the events calendar and submit your information to them for review and approval. So that way, people that are not on social media, but they're using the Mad River Valley Chamber of Commerce, they already have the audience. Like, if the audience knows that they could go to the chamber to go find, like, explore things to do, but they don't have Instagram and they don't know your business because they're just planning their first trip to the Mad River Valley, This is an opportunity for you to just copy over that consistent messaging from one place to another in order to reach your audience. And also, this is not just for digital reasons. Also, this could be also for traditional marketing when it comes to more maybe print, maybe mailing marketing. It might be email marketing. It also might be like radio spot ads. So the messaging should not change, and it should stay consistent because the benefits stay the same. And there is a question that came up in one of our task force meetings from Aaron, who runs the dispensary, who runs, does burgers and does events, of like, when you have so many different audience personas, you've got dispensaries selling THC products, CBD products. You've got burgers, which anybody can eat. Well, not anybody, actually. That's not true. Dispensary is 21 plus. We've got burger eaters and lovers, and we've got events, which there's a ton of different events that Aaron has the availability to plan out and host. So Aaron was asking me, like, how do I talk to all these different people without it being like one day I post about burgers, one day I post about the dispensary, one day I post about events, and then, keep switching. And so I challenged Aaron to think about, why would people want to go to a dispensary? Why would people want to go to a restaurant for burgers? Why would people want to go to an event? All three of these have a commonality. We just have to look at them from a bigger picture and say, oh, yeah, I can go and engage with this one business in order to escape the day to day. Why do people, light up? They want to be taken out of their day to day. Most of the time, there's also health benefits related to, CBD. There's also, there's benefits to all of them. But the common thread between all of them, that Aaron can marry that marketing messaging between the three and make it a little bit easier on him, is talk about the ways in which people can take a break from their day-to-day life. People want to go to concerts and have fun. Why do they want to do that? That's to not think about the family drama that's going on. Why do people want to go out to eat rather than a home cooked meal? They don't wanna have to sit home and cook. It's the convenience part of it. Like, it's the convenience is also a very powerful marketing tool, that if it's convenient to go stop by the dispensary and you can have your escape tool in your hand in under 5 minutes, why wouldn't you wanna go? The convenience of, purchasing your ticket for the event on the website platform. Really finding this common thread between the three, and for Aaron specifically, challenging that group of marketers to say, if you want a pause from the grind, if you want to pause from the hustle and bustle, if you want us to take care of you, which is not often, something that people think about, is how can businesses take care of you for the night so you don't have to take care of yourself? um, those are actual, like, those are valid reasons why people would go to either three of these different businesses and engage with the products that they sell. So if you do have multiple audiences, I do want to encourage you to think about, what is this commonality between them? And it might not be the actual, like, physical age and location of the audience. It might be where they're at in their life and the why behind why they engage with your products and services. Number two is keeping it simple, silly. So avoiding jargon and focusing on clarity, getting to the point and using everyday language. I often see this um, with folks that are in the healthcare business, more of like the medical practices, whether it's like medical massage, even drip culture a little bit on the website, where because we're using this jargon every single day, it's sometimes hard to think about, you know, what is the language? What are the words? What's the tone? What's the phrase that my audience is used to hearing? And they might not even know that they have this, like, they might not know that they need this solution, but what they do know is that they have these symptoms, they have this feeling. What they do know is what they can feel. But when it comes to businesses that do have a little bit more of a advanced language, it's always a great idea to figure out a way to, like, make it more similarly to how we talk in a day-to-day conversation. So in my mindset, I always think to, like, when I go home for Christmas and my grandmother asks me, like, "How's the business?" But I'm not gonna tell her about, like, "Oh, yeah, like, I posted on Instagram," like, using all these, like, social media terms, because she's not gonna understand what the heck I'm talking about. But what she does understand is, I am able to she used to be a teacher, so just knowing where she is coming from, you know, I hosted this webinar with local businesses that went to the Mad River Valley, and I taught them different strategies to help them uh, gain more visibility for their business. She doesn't need to know exactly how, but using this type of language does guide her a little bit, and more, not talking about my grandmother anymore, but guide your audiences to say, like, "Oh, all I as the person looking at your content knows is how I'm feeling right now," which is where you calling out the problem that they might be feeling or the emotion that they might be feeling. That's why, and sometimes they're direct, like, "Hey, ski lovers," like, "Hey, small business owners, hey, you," like, enter description here, short description. What they do know is where they're coming from, and focusing on clarity. So, with your posts especially, and thinking about what content you want to put out, I would not try to fit everything about your business in one post. I would very much break it up and talk about one thing one day, one thing another day, one thing another day, getting very clear and focusing on one audience at a time, rather than trying to hit all the points at once. And as a content creator for your business, this also allows you to make a stretch of content without um like without having to, like, if you put everything in day 1, then you're going to get to day 2 and be like, "Okay, what do I talk about now?" Where if you break it up, not only do you provide clarity to the people watching your content, but you also make it easier on yourself to be like, "Okay, I'm going to spread this messaging out over the next, like, 5 days." And also going back to the point that not 100% of your followers see 100% of your posts. So this allows multiple touch points to increase frequency, but also increase the probability that they see at least one of your messages about this business that you are trying to promote. Miranda from the farmers market also mentioned that, utilizing anchor businesses, and using them as kind of like your references to how to do social media is a great strategy in order to see how it's done. So Lawson's, the creators of Sip of Sunshine, Spruce Peak does a great job, Sugarbush does a great job, and not just looking at their content and seeing how they do that, but looking at how they engage and interact in their comments and what type of language do they use, in order to uh, have an understanding of, like, how people and how businesses in your community are engaging with one another, and also engaging with their content too. Because if you are somebody who wants to get more views, more eyes on your content, then businesses commenting on other businesses' pages, that should be part of your social media strategy. So, to everybody watching, go pick a business in the Mad River Valley and go engage with them. Okay, number 3 is tapping into emotion. We've already been talking about this, so I'm not gonna go on and on and on about this, but don't be afraid to pull some heartstrings. Do not be afraid to use humor if that is part of your culture, like your business culture. Don't be afraid to pull in nostalgia and remember the good old days type of language. Also, inspiration and sparking curiosity. So, if there's especially something that like you have, I use this term lightly, but like a controversial opinion, like a hot take about something related to your industry, don't be afraid to go with the norm. As long as you're not like passing along misinformation, you are just opening up a different leg of the conversation and being an authority in your industry. If you are mentioning something that has not been mentioned before, do not be afraid to open up the conversation, whether that is in your content itself, like maybe you're filming a reel that is like, I haven't seen anybody talk about this before. Let me know your comments below. Or you could also do that by encouraging questions in the comments itself when you're writing your caption. Okay, aligning messaging and visuals. So when it comes to choosing, like, do I do reels? Do I do posts? Like, what should I be doing? It always it's hard to answer that question because the best choice you can make is something you feel comfortable with. I'm not going to push anybody to create a reel if they are not feeling emotionally ready to do so, to get on camera, because that awkwardness will come across on the camera. If as of right now, you are at a point where you can film a reel and feel comfortable with it, great. That involves storytelling, it involves music, it involves moving video, like movement. Those are 3 amazing elements to have in your content. But if you are at a point where all you're doing is like taking photos and putting a caption, that is better than not posting at all. And more importantly, it's imperative to keep consistency over quality right now. Like, yes, if you are able to crank out high quality content, amazing, great. You know, you don't need me. But if you right now, all you're like, all you're doing right now is feeling like you can put up a story once a week that shows your face, that is again better. Like that is the best way to connect with your audience, and the strategy is something to look at. But when it comes to content itself, it is always best to practice what makes you um the most comfortable. So for me, it is filming a reel. I feel I can do a reel faster and I feel a lot more confident talking FaceTime style at a camera for 60 seconds than I do taking a bunch of photos that I like, am feeling like awkward in my body about, and then trying to like put a caption onto that. So look at what the best option is for you, and then just learn from that option how to do a little bit better at that every week. But one of the strategies I do recommend is aligning your messaging to your visuals. So if you are needing to put up a caption that is promoting a service, well, I'll just keep using drip culture. So if drip culture is trying to promote like Valentine's Day, like talking to couples that we want to bring more couples into the spa, then aligning the messaging with the visuals, you'd probably like choose a photo of maybe like a couple at the sauna walking into the sauna, or rose petals, or something that aligns to the messaging that um you are trying to promote. Like you wouldn't put a photo of a mom walking into a sauna with their young kid. Like that does not feel aligned. So, this is what I mean by choosing visuals that evoke curiosity through the text in which you are putting out there. So maybe it's a branded graphic that is asking a question, or take a guess at something, like it's evoking curiosity in somebody, or also like a reel that is like, here's something I wish I knew before starting my business as a massage therapist or dispensary owner, because that tells other people, like, like, I wonder what that thing is, or visually shows them a solution through photos and videos. So these are two strategies that I recommend for aligning our messaging with our visuals, but it doesn't necessarily, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, because reels are always going to be, from a human standpoint, are always going to be the most engaging, because it really stops the eye. It allows for increased storytelling. Algorithmically, it's always good to do a mix anyway. So the way you present the content in the form of choosing a photo or a video, don't stress about that as much. Do what you are able to with the time in which you are able to do it, and go from there. And yeah, last but not least, testing and tweaking. As I was mentioning earlier, it's important to experiment with different styles and track engagement. So, likes, comments, shares, sends, all that stuff. And you could do this by looking at your insights. It's also a great place to start. So maybe, you're like, okay, where do I go from here? Chances are you've made at least one post on social media. So looking at your insights and really understanding what has gotten you the most views, what has gotten you the most comments, what has gotten you the most shares, um, what has gotten you the most watch time if you're looking at reels. These are important data points. So that way you know what content is working already. And if there is content that did really well, look at the content and ask yourself, what was it that engaged people? Was it the way I presented the content? Was it the hook that I used in the beginning? Was it the caption? And usually people will comment, like the comments will give you an idea of what works well for that. And the way to look at your insights is going into your dashboard, your results dashboard, your data dashboard, and going into the content section. I have it set to last 30 days, but you could set it all the way back to 90 days. And really looking at, it'll go from top to bottom, and really looking at, like, what were some of the commonalities between the content that you put out there. So for this one, it was more informational. This one was also informational, and they were very timely based on what was happening in the social media industry. So that's my theme of, like, hey, Brittany, when you hear something's going down about the Instagram algorithm, like, hop on it. That tells me my strategy. This one is, do you notice anything different? So it is invoking curiosity, where I don't tell them, I'm asking them. And then in the comments, I reveal what the difference was. Um, and yeah, like, really just looking at this as a place to start. So that way we are making smarter decisions when it comes to our marketing efforts. And the data will tell us that. This is really like a building block in order to keep building on what has been working thus far. And so that's all I have for you today with Speak Their Language. Again, this was a guide to marketing messaging and really thinking about how can we provide messaging that resonates with our audiences. Your homework after this, because if you know me, you know I love homework. The Mad River Valley is really trying to bolster community involvement when it comes to marketing. And the good part is the Mad River Valley has over 1,000 Instagram followers. So you can really use this homework assignment as a way to gain some audience members on your own accounts, your own business accounts, really fast. So your homework is to design and to implement a collaborative post, like a collaborator post, and put it on Instagram. We'll put in the link below this video where to download that PDF. But essentially, this guide will be teaching you giving you some ideas as to what types of content to put together. It also includes a caption template that you can use as your framework and your guide to writing this caption. It also teaches you step by step exactly what to do in order to add the Mad River Valley as a collaborator on that post. But this is a way where you can highlight your business, you can highlight your business's culture, and involve yourself in the online community that the Mad River Valley is spending, time in order to promote that and promote this community feeling, not just in person when tourism season is happening, but also keeping that on the online space as well. So if you are not finding the workbook, feel free to reach out to me at hello@thewinfieldcreative.com, and I can also send it to you via email individually, and also Eric from the Mad River Valley, who will have a copy of it as well. But yeah, that's what I've got for you today, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to craft effective messaging in order to speak their language. Talk to you soon.